Good morning. Welcome to our mini morning supine yoga session. We're going to start on our back, so let's go ahead and come into constructive rest pose, feet on the mat, position widthwise and distance from the body to in the place that feels most comfortable for you. Make sure that your spine feels aligned and that there's no places where you're straining to be in this position. And also decide where you want your hands to be, on your body or away. Now let's take a moment and just draw our attention to our breathing. We're going to practice breath awareness. Again, the simplest breathing technique is by far the most effective one. You can use this all throughout the day just to do a check-in, make sure that you're not holding your breath or you're not struggling with it at all. Just notice it. You might notice if it's steady and rhythmic or a bit erratic. Is it fast or slow, deep or shallow? You might decide to let your knees sway side to side while you're here. Small movement from side to side, maybe an inch or so in each direction. Going to create a gentle massaging effect across your low back. And then you can decide if you need to be letting the knees drop closer and closer to the floor. Just notice and breathe. Now we're going to bring those knees back to center after this last time, dropping the knees to the side. And let's go ahead and lift the feet up off the floor. Place our hands on our knees. And on the exhale, you might bring your knees in closer to your chest. And then inhale, move them away. Exhale, draw the knees in closer, adding compression to the abdomen, decompressing the low back and hips. Inhale, move them away. Now this time when the knees come in, allow yourself to keep your hands on your knees or maybe wrap them around the shins. Rock a little side to side if you like. Good way to ease up some of that low back tension possibly. And then let's let the knees widen. Take the pressure off the abdomen. Let your hands rest on your shins, which will allow your low back to press a little bit more comfortably into the mat. You can slide your hands towards your ankles. A little bit of an inner thigh stretch here. We might even decide to interlace our fingers and wrap them around the feet. Press your knees open for a supine butterfly. And just breathe. Good inner thigh stretch, not hindered by the low back. Now, we might reach for the edges of the feet. Lift the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. Happy baby. Now, if it's too intense to have your hands on the edges of the feet, place them on the outside of the calves. And then decide if you want to rock from side to side here, from knee to knee. Give yourself a gentle full back massage. And then we're going to go ahead and come back to center. We're going to bring our feet together, bring our knees together. We might slide our hands between our thighs and calves. Maybe we decide to extend our legs up toward the ceiling. Now you can keep your hands behind the legs if you like, or maybe decide to let the hands rest down. Legs up the wall, a great way to improve the circulation in your legs, good for your heart, your digestive system, and excellent for anxiety and insomnia. Use this one any time of the day. And just breathe. Now you might decide to point your toes and flex your feet and get a little bit more of a leg stretch while you're here. Excellent way to fully stretch the legs all the way through the back of the legs as well as your shins and the tops of the feet. Maybe rotate our ankles a few times. And then back in the other direction. You might decide to flex those feet, press up through the soles of the feet, press your low back into the mat. Now maybe bend your right knee. Let's put this left foot over on top of the right thigh. Supine pigeon. Supine pigeon is a great alternative for somebody who doesn't actually enjoy standard pigeon pose. This is a great way to open your hip out. Just let the foot rest on the thigh, and you could bounce the knee if you need a little bit more of a stretch. But keep in mind that we don't always have to go deeper if we don't want to. Now, if you do still feel like you need more, you can lift this right foot up off the floor, bring the right knee in towards your chest, maybe even wrap your hand around that right shin. or consider extending that right leg up if you prefer, if you'd rather. And breathe. Now rebend that right knee, and then we're going to set the right foot down. Let's let the right knee come down to the floor with the left foot. Extend your left arm out, look towards your left hand, and possibly place your right hand on that left knee, and you might coax that knee down toward the floor. So this is going to add some intensity to the twist. Just with the foot on the floor, knee up in the air, it's a slight deeper hip twist, but if you bring that knee toward the floor, you're going to notice it does go a little bit deeper through the torso, the hip, and you might even feel more intensity in the shoulder. So decide for yourself where you want to be with this, and breathe. Now you might decide once you're here to begin to straighten that left leg out, and that will give you a nice leg stretch. It's also going to add a little bit more intensity through the torso, low back and hip for the twist, and breathe. Now rebend that left knee. Let's bring it back to center. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and lift our right foot up, place it on top of the left thigh. Let your knee open. Notice how this feels. Again, bounce the knee for a little bit more, or drop this left knee in for a bit more than that. Again, you can wrap your hand around that shin or extend the left leg up. Maybe draw that leg in closer, or even reach for that big toe. And then from here, we're going to rebend that left knee, and then let that left knee come down with the right foot on top. Extend your right arm out. So this is a nice, gentle supine spinal twist. Keeping the knee up in the air is going to make it less intense. Draw the knee toward the floor, and you're going to feel this a little bit more intensely through your torso. Once again, let's keep in mind we do not have to make it more intense unless we want to. And breathe. Once again, you do have the option of straightening that right leg out away from you. And just getting a good leg stretch along with the twist. And breathe. Now, let's rebend that right knee. Let's bring both legs back to center, and then walk your ankles and knees in toward each other, and then let the soles of the feet come together with your knees dropping open here. Passive external rotation of the thighs. You might notice that gravity is drawing your knees toward the floor ever so slightly. It's not a very obvious sensation, but if you've done this a few times, you start to notice there is some pull trying to draw those knees toward the floor, very gently. Again, this is a yin practice, targeting any deep resistance in the hips. And now we're going to go ahead and bring the knees back to center. Let's take and bring our knees in one more time. Extend those legs back up just for a few more moments of legs up the wall. You can end the practice in this position if you like. Just resting in legs up the wall. You could stay in legs up the wall for, say, 5 minutes or something like that if you'd like. But if you prefer, you can extend those legs all the way down to the end of the mat. Give yourself a moment to stretch out from fingertips to toes. And then when you feel ready, you can always end any practice in Shavasana. Palms out, feet out to the sides, allowing yourself to just come into a restful pose. And while you're here, give yourself permission to notice your breathing. Set an intention for the day, maybe to maintain a deep sense of calm, no matter what comes your way. Allow yourself to continue to rest in this comfortable position for as long as you need. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. From my heart to yours, namaste.